Hello and welcome to the George Poulos podcast. We're back again. Spring is springing. Do you feel it? Because I feel it. And every single time spring rolls around, I'm surprised. Like I didn't quite realize how sleepy the energy got, but it did. And then life starts to spring again and you can feel it, and you can feel it within your being. It's really, really tremendous. Julia and I just started manically cleaning and rearranging the apartment. We got rid of like a bunch of bags of old stuff, donated several bags of clothing. We moved the whole bedroom from one side of the apartment all the way to a different room and swapped it with Julia's office, and things are feeling so different. Still kind of in the middle of that process, but it hit me like halfway through. I was like, oh, we're spring cleaning. We're doing spring cleaning right now. And I just thought it was so funny that spring cleaning is such a thing, but we didn't sit down and intend to do spring cleaning. We just had this energy arising within us where we were like, things are stale, things need to change. And we just started moving things around and we were spring cleaning. So it makes sense that that's a thing, because these energy patterns that come with the seasons, they ripple through humanity, and we all kind of have this universal experience. It's pretty amazing. My birthday just passed. I just had my birthday weekend. It was absolutely spectacular. And it was spectacular because it was completely normal. And hearing myself say that out loud, it actually reminds me of one of my acid trips where I realized that it was like an acid trip where I just walked around the neighborhood and nothing special at all happened. And I was fully tuned into the knowing that nothing special happening is absolutely tremendously more than perfect. Our day-to-day routine, the sunlight coming in the window, making coffee, seeing strangers that we pass on the street, seeing little birds, little squirrels, hearing the sounds, it is tremendously perfect. So on my birthday weekend, I just actually for the first time in as long as I can remember, decided not to do anything. Like usually I feel this pressure to have a party. And I actually remember last year on the podcast, I spoke about this a little bit. And I spoke about how I was anxious to order in the pizza. This year, I was just what do I really... I kind of tend to try to use my birthday as an opportunity to really just tune into my intuition. And so I was like, okay, what is my intuition really calling for? It's calling for me to do nothing and see where the day goes. And it was absolutely fantastic. Woke up, made coffee, wrote in my journal. Did laundry at some point. It's funny, my memory is fading now that I'm trying to recall it, because it's I'm here in this moment recording this podcast. But it was really tremendous. Julia got me this money tree. She came home from her bartending shift with this money tree. We're in an era of manifesting abundance, so it's perfect. Woke up, coffee, journaling, as I said, so special, so sacred, that coffee and journaling. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. We went to the Crocs store. I bought a new pair of Crocs. I put on a butterfly and a sunflower gem on them. Ran into our friend Kat on the way home. Had a nice interaction. We got breakfast at a diner. It was very special, me and Julia. Did laundry. Just had a very normal day. The next day, I saw my family for brunch. Ran into Brett Conti on the way. If you've been following along for a while, you know Brett. Brett impacted me tremendously in many ways, but a key way was by teaching me a fundamental lesson about business, which is also a fundamental lesson in karma. It's all connected, which is that you have to spend money in order to make money when you're running a business. And that falls in line with the laws of karma. In order to receive, you must give. And in the lineage that I learned about of Buddhism at Three Jewels, they really emphasize this idea of, if there's something that you want, the fastest way to get it, karmically speaking, is to find someone else who wants it and help them get it. That's how you're going to actually plant the karmic seeds for you to receive what you want. And do I have this book? I also feel like this is on like a Jesus energy. I had read this book a long time ago. It's The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. And it's sort of about how Jesus teaches manifestation and abundance. And someone in the comments recently, they were responding to me talking about money and abundance and how I just read, it's not here, but I just read You Are a Badass at Making Money. And they recommended this book, and I've read it already. And I have it sitting right here because I pulled it out after reading that comment. And it's like that idea of spending money to make money, or giving so you shall receive, is like very much what Jesus taught according to this book. And I'm like just skimming the surface of Jesus's teachings. But so this is not a direct Jesus quote, but here is a quote at the very beginning of the book from the author of this book. Jesus Christ taught that life is a great game of giving and receiving. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Was that Jesus who said, "What you'll reap what you sow"? I mean, there it is. There's the divine teaching of karma. There's the divine lesson of abundance and manifestation, and also a very practical business tip. If you want to make money, you can't hoard your money. You can't feel like you have to hold on to it or it's going to disappear. That's a scarcity mindset. The abundance mindset puts you into a mode of open flow. I'll spend money when it feels right, trusting that that money is going to come back. How did I even get into this? Oh, the money tree? So yeah. Oh, and I ran into Brett. Then my family and I got brunch. And man, I love my family. If any of you are listening, I love you. It's crazy to have gone through childhood. I think I shared in a recent episode, literally all I cared about was skateboarding and Annie's mac and cheese. And I didn't care about anything else. And then to have come around, now I'm 27, just turned 27 years old. Now to have come around and I'm finding myself extremely interested in spirituality and religion, in that sort of genre in general, and having these conversations with my family at my birthday brunch. It's like tremendous and full circle and really beautiful and amazing. And I just feel so blessed to be alive, really. I was kind of a complainer as a kid, I feel like. I don't know. I just want to skate. I don't want to do anything else. I would complain about everything. I thought everything else was boring. Now I'm like, oh no, actually everything is amazing. So it's crazy to experience that full circle. I had this fascinating experience of like, I swear like 7 or 8 people I found out have a birthday the day before or the day of or the day after me. And it was just kind of trippy to experience how many people have this Aries birthday season. And by the way, this is something I've felt every year, but I've never really tried to articulate or express. But having an Aries birthday, my birthday is April 13th. It's actually really, really intense because literally I'm recording this on April 15th. I think it is coming out a week later, but right now, today, this weekend, on my birthday weekend, the shift to spring became palpable. It's like we're not leading up to spring anymore. It's like we're opening, we're going, it's moving. Like the energy is here. All that spring cleaning, shedding the past, expanding into the new energy comes with it. And it's like my birthday being right smack in the middle of that energetic expansion. It's like, I feel like in the past I've always been wondering why do I feel so crazy right now? Like why is this so intense? Why is so much going on? Now I see, it's because we're right at that pivotal point. So it's just interesting to have the birthday and the rebirth of the earth all at the same time. Like a lot of it's really actually a good excuse to go for it with whatever it is. It's like I have the two excuses, the birthday and the season changing. But yeah, it's really intense to have an Aries birthday. I wonder what it's like for all of you to have different birthdays, because I've only ever had this April birthday, and that's all I ever will have. It's interesting in 2 episodes, in the March Reflection, April Intention episode, I spoke about human design. And in that episode, I spoke about how astrology never really did it for me. And still it doesn't resonate that much. But I will say, and this happens with a lot of different things, human design has kind of opened me a little bit more to astrology, which is cool. I don't know. I've been playing with the identification as an Aries thing, and I'm like, what is it like to be a different astrological sign? I don't know, just something I'm playing with. And yeah, that opening effect, it's really interesting. I think about how I got into Buddhism and spirituality, and it was I start off closed off to things, and then I'll read something or hear about some experience or have some experience, and then suddenly I'm like, I'm actually open to learning about this thing. And I remember one example was I was really closed off to Buddhism and meditation, frankly, and spirituality in general. And then I read Jack Kerouac, and since I thought he was this cool American, hot American guy who drove a car across the country, reading him talk about Buddhism and meditation gave it a particular context where I was like, maybe this Buddhism and meditation stuff is not what I thought. So it opened me a little bit. Something I'm actually trying to build out in my new school community is a book list where every really important book that I've read, the way or the criteria for me to classify it as really important is that it has it had a key unlock. It opened something in my mind, allowing me to be ready to receive the next level. So all of the books on that list, I kind of want to, as I build it out, I kind of want to write down what was the key unlock? What did this book really open for me? And the fascinating thing about this spiritual journey, or this journey of life, whatever you want to call it, and it happens through books, it happens through experience, it happens through study, it happens through all different ways and forms. What I've realized is you don't even have to be spiritual. You don't have to care about it at all. You will still go through these phases and openings. This journey is just a process of, it's not even, I love the word expansion, but it's not even really expansion, because who we are in our core is already fully, infinitely expansive. We are beings of pure potential. Anything we can think of, we can do. But what's in the way are limiting stories, limiting beliefs, small ideas about who we are and what we're capable of. So the spiritual path, the journey of growing up, whatever it is you want to call it, is just a journey of one by one breaking those limiting stories with spiritual practice, with inner work, with actual direct experience of doing something that you didn't think was possible. And over time, getting rid of so many of those limiting stories that one day you're like, whoa, what am I really capable of? Like, is there a limit to this? And you over time you realize your full capacity, which is when you get a glimpse of it, it's absolutely dazzling and incredible and kind of frightening. Because we can really do it. Like, we can, like, I'll take me for example. Like, I can show up and teach meditation once a week. I can show up and host a community. I can show up on camera, speak vulnerably from the heart, share what I'm going through in an effort to teach and inspire people, and also to like push my own creative buttons in a way that fuels me up, and in a way that like creates a sustainable, exciting, energizing, beautiful career. And I can be an artist. I can do it. It's really, I touched on this in the last episode too. That Marianne Williamson quote about how our greatest fear is that we actually are really powerful. Because it's really easy to choose fear. It's really easy to choose fear because when you decide like, oh, I can't do a podcast, that's not for me, that's so easy. Then you just sit on the couch and keep going to the job that you hate. You know, it's too easy. It's way too easy to choose fear and limitation. It is really scary to see truth. And I think that's where a lot of our unconscious resistance to spiritual practice is. Because spiritual practice, it's frankly unavoidable. If you meditate consistently enough, you will catch a glimpse of the truth. And the truth is, you can do anything. You can be anyone. You can love everyone. You can accomplish everything. You can absolutely do it all, have it all, because it's already yours. It's already yours. So, right? So meditation can be very scary in that way because it will show you that. It will show you that, no, you're fine. You're more than fine. You're actually here on this earth to do something really important, to help people, to serve people, to share, to shine, right? But it's scary, right? But it's really worth it. So something I've been experiencing lately, I've been actively pushing through fear. Consistently at this point. I feel like I've been doing it since I did the meditation teacher training. Like, after the meditation teacher training, I had this like call. I had this inner call. There's always an inner call, isn't there? The inner call for me was, I should start teaching meditation to my Patreon community. Why did I have that inner call? I don't know. It was just there and it was undeniable. Did I procrastinate it for a few weeks? Yes. But then I hit the point, I was like, what am I doing? Like, this procrastination is painful. I'm scared of showing up and nobody else showing up. I'm scared of showing up and doing a bad job, of stumbling on my words. But listening to these fears really is not worth it. Really is not worth it. And the moment that I showed up for that first class, or like in my like career work sphere, usually the first step of facing my fears is like posting about something. So I posted, hey, on this date, I'm going to do the meditation. We're going to do it for this many weeks. Once I posted it, I immediately felt like, wow, I did it. And then I showed up for the first one. I was like, wow, I did it. And then I showed up again and again and again. And I've done 6 of them now. And now I'm like, yeah, duh, I had to do that. Like, that was for my expansion. I don't know what that did for other people. Like, I really like the from A Course in Miracles, the use of the Holy Spirit. Like, the Holy Spirit, to my understanding, is used sort of interchangeably with intuition. It's just like the force that's just working. It's just working. So an idea that the Course of Miracles says that I self-reference, I tell myself this once in a while, is that like, whatever situation you show up in, the Holy Spirit put you there for a reason. And if you just let go and open your mouth and move in the way that just happens, it's going to be perfect. And like, what we do in our minds is we try to assess, like, okay, if I say this right thing, if I teach this class this way and hit on all these notes, then these people will have this effect. That's our rational mind. And it's really an illusion when we project into the future, because we can't really predict that. Like, the theory goes in A Course in Miracles that what you could do is show up there, open your mouth, and let the Holy Spirit move through you. It's another way of saying letting go. Just let go. Just drop the fear or the anxiety. Just say what you need to say. Just say what's in your heart. And that's going to be absolutely perfect, because the Holy Spirit has a plan for everybody in that situation. That's a really powerful idea for letting go of fear, because then it's like, oh yeah, I don't know what this means. I don't know what is the best thing for the other people in this room. Like, at the end of the day, you really don't. You really don't. And all of this ties in nicely with emptiness too, because all of the words I'm saying are empty of a nature. This is a Buddhist idea, if you haven't heard me talk about it yet. It means that the words are just sounds. They're just sounds. And you're interpreting them in your brain in the way that you need to interpret them, or in the way that you happen to be interpreting them. And it's like, so many people are going to listen to these same words and click off the video. But other people are going to be like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. I feel like I'm learning something from that. It's because of emptiness, and it's because the Holy Spirit, I'm just going there. It's because the Holy Spirit is doing what the Holy Spirit do for each of us individually. By having this experience, I'm learning something, you're learning something, another person is learning something else. So that realization kind of sets you free in each situation. It's like, what if you show up into a room and you end up doing the thing you're really afraid of? You like awkwardly stumble, you drop your lunch tray, your face falls in your beans. When you get up, you slip on the milk. Everyone's looking at you, and then you try to start talking and the words don't come out right, and you just totally embarrass yourself. Like, who are we to say that that wasn't perfect? Like, why is that bad? Seriously. Why is it bad? In reference to what is it bad? Like, I'm seriously asking you to think about this. Like, is it bad because there's bean juice on my face? Why is that bad? Because I had to go home or go to the bathroom and clean it off, and I missed an hour of work? Why is that bad? If you trace these things, is it because people are going to start talking about me? Does it matter what they say? If you trace these things, like, where do you find that it's bad? You know what I mean? And then you can go the other way and like, oh, what if it's actually good? Like, what if somehow that situation was perfect? So, oh Lord, my plan was something I did on Instagram. We'll transition a little bit into the creator journey. Something I did on Instagram that was tremendously powerful for me is I closed my 10 different accounts. I had George Poulos, I had George Poulos writing, I had George Poulos, I'm forgetting. I had George Poulos books where I shared different books. I had George Poulos notes where I shared screenshots from my notes app. I had George Poulos podcast where I shared clips from the podcast. I had George Poulos merch where I shared pictures of my merch. I had 100,000 different accounts, and one day I decided I was sick of it. I closed all of the accounts except George Poulos, and then I decided I will post everything that I do and want to share on this one place on Instagram. That decision has simplified my life tremendously. It's kind of parallel to spring cleaning. It's kind of parallel to when you get rid of the clutter. When you simplify, things kind of become clear. When you have space, there is clarity that emerges in that space. Usually we have that space filled with clutter. Like the physical environment, like cleaning your apartment, same with cleaning your social media presence. So I've merged the Instagrams, very powerful step for me. Still, though, I'm hanging on to different YouTube accounts. So I have my quote unquote main YouTube account, and I also have where I usually have been posting this podcast. So a podcast YouTube account. And it's got me thinking, like, first of all, it's really annoying to keep up with them both. And I'm like, huh, is it time to take that bold step of just like putting the podcast on my main channel where I'm still scared of those people judging me? I thought of this because as I was talking to about the Holy Spirit, I was like, oh God, like I'm going to really open up here and post it on this channel. And this is going to be the first podcast episode I post over there. But I think it is time for me to take that brave step. So the plan as I'm sitting and recording this, and I'm expecting a lot of fear to arise when I sit down on my computer to actually do this. I want to just post all the video content that I want to post on one YouTube channel. I want to, just like I did on Instagram, I want to get rid of the clutter and just be me on YouTube like I'm being me on Instagram. This is also something I have to do on TikTok. It's really freaking annoying. I have 2 TikTok pages. If I investigate the root of why I ended up splitting these pages, frankly, it comes down to I had one big page about skateboarding and I didn't want to annoy people with my spiritual expression. But what I'm learning is it's okay to change. It's okay to change interests even drastically. It's just okay to share the entire journey that you're on in one place. It's actually really interesting, beautiful, and inspiring to people to just be yourself and to show it all and to embrace it all, because no one is just a skateboarder. No one is just a meditator. That's just not real. So again, I was like able to bravely embody this on Instagram, and it was scary, but it did have this like unifying, clarifying effect on my mind and my creativity. I'm feeling like I'm ready to take that step on YouTube now. And I also think it's got to be time to do this on TikTok as well. Like the kinds of fears that come in for me, I'm like, oh, which one do I pick? Are there going to be people who don't move over to the other platform? This is a huge one for me. And this also was a fear that came up when I decided I would be switching from Patreon to Skool, to teach my meditation, to host the community, etc. A big fear is like, oh, what if people don't move over with me? But then it comes back to like, look at what's happening in the spring. Like what I just did with my apartment. It's like letting go of these objects that don't serve me anymore. Like how long have I been hanging on to this piece of furniture? And every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, I don't like that, but maybe I should keep it because maybe I'll use it one day. And then it's just taking up space. It's just this stale, stagnant energy. So actually what I'm seeing is spring cleaning can happen online too. And actually sometimes making that shift for whatever it looks like. Maybe you just have one account and you didn't get into the mess I got in. Maybe you just have one account and you want to change the kind of content you're sharing or change the energy of the content you're sharing. For me, it's like, oh, I've got all these accounts and I'm feeling this call. Again, there's this inner call to merge the accounts and just be me on one place. That cleanup, that spring cleaning will leave stale energy behind. Not everyone will come over, but that brave move. And I want to say about the apartment cleanup, letting go of every single piece of clothing, every single piece of furniture, it is brave. It comes with fear. Because when we're in a scarcity mindset, when we're in a clinging mind, it's like we want to hold on to everything because we're like scared of losing things. We're in a misunderstanding in our mind, so it's scary to let go. But the act of letting go, even if it's just an object or if it's a social media account, the act of letting go brings you closer to the truth that nothing was ever yours. Nothing can really be lost. And when you just, this applies to the abundance and the money too, when you allow yourself to just be an open flow, you're much, much, much closer to the truth. Nothing can be quote unquote mine. That's an illusion of the ego. The ego wants to hoard. The ego is in scarcity. But the truth is that there's no such thing as scarcity. It's just open. It's just flowing, right? So it's really tremendously safe to let go of what is no longer serving you, because that's going to create space for clarity. It's going to create space for new and fresh and energized to come in. You're going to feel alive. You're going to feel that clarity. You're going to feel that abundance coming in. So I think I'm convincing myself as we speak that it is time to merge YouTube accounts, to merge TikTok accounts, to take all these brave steps that I want to take, right? Another one with the TikTok is like, all these attachments. It's so funny. And all this fear of letting go, when letting go is one of the most powerful things you can do. It's funny. And I'm looking at my Post-its here because I'm trying to sort out this crisis on my wall with these Post-it notes. I have 2 TikTok accounts. One is the one that I built up with the skating, and one is the one that I built up with like the spiritual thoughts. The skating one, this is a big theme for me. The skating TikTok keeps getting these big fat brand deals, and I really dislike doing them. But because of my fear and scarcity mindset, I'm like scared to let it go. I'm scared to let go of that account because I'm like, fuck, like, but these brand deals, like, what if I need them? But actually that holding on, it's cluttering my mind. And just like, I'm just imagining if I just let that go and clear up that space. So what about the brand deals? Like, oof, now what has room to come in? It's so juicy and exciting. So merging social media accounts, still a journey I'm on. Hopefully now that I've just said all that out loud, I'm ready to also merge the TikTok and the YouTube. I mean, that would really make my life a lot simpler. And again, what happens in simplicity? Clarity, focus, power. Yes, very exciting. Do I have anything else? I totally forgot to plug the book that inspired the clean out. This is the life-changing magic of tidying up by Marie Kondo. It's basically a philosophy on how to clean out your apartment. More or less, it's that you want to dump out all of your clothes onto the floor, pick each one up one by one, and if it does not spark joy, like in your heart and your soul, then you get rid of it. And you do that one by one. You go from clothes to books to papers to miscellaneous items. She's got a framework, a system, an order, a great philosophy. She also talks about the spiritual side of it and how letting go of these objects clears up space, and how it's not uncommon for like people to do a Marie Kondo clean out and then suddenly realize like, oh, I hate my job. I'm going to quit and start this business. Again, because when you clear space, I think that's the theme of this episode. When you clear space, when you let go of what's no longer serving you, when you say no to what's no longer serving you, you enter this state of just like clarity and openness and receptivity, and then more opportunities, objects, things, whatever it is, will come your way. And then you can say, oh yes, like this one feels really good, and now I have space for it and I can really pour my energy into it. So it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. So I hope everyone's spring, I know it's an intense energy, but I hope everyone's spring is off to a great start, an exciting start. I welcome you to flow with it, to move with it, to listen to the callings of your heart as you navigate spring. Something I didn't really touch on, although I sort of touched on it with the birthday and not forcing myself to like have a big party or anything, is I'll share this. A pattern I've noticed a lot in my life is like I feel pressure to do certain things. I feel like it's spring, therefore I have to be a certain way. I have to socialize this amount. That's just frankly false refuge. Like you think there's happiness in doing it that way. What if you really radically this season tuned into the inner heart and had faith in yourself, truly, truly? What if you did that, you know? I feel like I'm kind of playing with that, you know, with the bold moves I'm making with the business and the creativity and like, yeah, really, I shared this in the March intentions, April reflections, but like saying no more if it doesn't feel right, and then just letting myself be in an open, peaceful space until something that feels really right comes my way. I'm just really playing with living that way and not forcing myself to do anything. And it's really been very beautiful. And I know this always brings up this interesting discussion of like, for me, it brings up this interesting discussion of like, if I just let go and listen to myself, what if I end up just not doing anything? But like, if I really dig, it's only my ego that's scared of doing stuff, that wants to truly rot in a hole and become depressed. I'll just say my higher self likes a lot of space and silence, but when there's something that I must do, and it can be anything, it can be a new move with business, it can be posting online, sharing something, expressing, it can be hosting a party, hosting a dinner, going out and socializing, whatever it is. It's like when there's an alignment, my soul is like, yes, let's go do that and really be there. But a lot of the times it is that no. And so often there's fear of saying no because I'm like, what if I'm never invited again? What if they think I hate them? And that again is scarcity. It's like, what if we played with this idea that it's completely safe to say yes or no? And what if we played with that freedom of really being free to do either and knowing that either one is fine? You can feel the energy of the sun out there. It's wild. Okay, I think that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, sending you the best vibes as you navigate this exciting spring season, and I'll see you next week.